from there. Right, first of all, we've been out in the field. As Stephen's already told you, it's throwing it down with rain out there. We've been out for a good hour. We've been had a good wander around. Unfortunately today not being able to shoot anything, but we've still been out there with the rifle. We've been indoors now for a good 15-20 minutes. It started to dry off, and as anybody knows, when you've been out with your rifle and it's absolutely wet through, the last thing that you want to do is be putting your rifle into a gun case or a gun bag, because all you're doing is transferring the moisture off your rifle into your gun bag, thus resulting, or the end result from that will be rust on your rifle, which nobody wants. I always carry one of these Ballistol care cloths with me. Whenever I go out on a shoot, whether it's just for half an hour or whether it's a day shoot, I always make sure that I've got this with me. It's a brilliant piece of kit. No weight to it, very, very thin, excellent. All you have to do is rip open the bag, the little protective case that it comes in, and what you have inside is a really strong smelling, smells like Pernod, ouzo, strong licorice, with a care cloth that is absolutely packed full of the lovely Ballistol oil. And all I'm going to do is apply the oil directly to my rifle, not removing the water first. I'm going to apply it to the whole of my rifle, scope, the action, the safety, all the way down, right down to the barrel, all the way down to the end of the barrel, and as you can see it's evenly coating the silencer. Give everything a really, really good rubbing over. Continuing on to the stock, the underside of the stock, the slide groove underneath, all around the trigger mechanism, around the pistol grip, into the checkering, everywhere on your rifle that's been subjected to the weather outside. We need to remove all the water, otherwise it's just going to get rusty. As soon as you've done that, all you have to do, leave it for a couple of minutes for the oil to soak into the wood. Because of the nature of the oil, it's very low in viscosity, so it will literally creep into all the little nooks and crannies of your rifle, thus protecting it from the environment, keeping it clean, so that you know that when you've finished wiping it all over, your rifle is then going straight back into a protected environment once it's been coated. Now, using a microfiber cloth. Microfiber cloth is extremely good for this product, because as you wipe over your rifle, removing the excess oil, the microfiber actually absorbs the excess oil from your rifle. So what you're doing is you are giving yourself an impregnated microfiber cloth that if you keep with your shooting gear, when you're finished, if you happen to forget your care cloth, which any good shooter should always keep a nice cleaning kit with them when they've finished, when they've been out in the field, and all you have to do is give it a little rub over, removing the excess, and that's it. Your rifle can then be put into its case, be it a soft case or a hard case, and you'll knowing full well that your rifle is completely protected. You've rubbed off all the moisture, you've reapplied your Ballistol oil. Let's just drop down onto the end of the barrel. This also removes all fingerprints and dust that you've got from the farm. Anywhere that you've been walking, the oil off your fingers, as you can see, the action is now really shiny. Even if you put your finger on it now, there's nothing there. You can't really see where your finger's been, even if you just rub over it. Admittedly, after a while, you're putting your fingers on, you're taking your fingers off, all that, you will find that your fingerprints will start to come back. All you need to do is wipe them away. There's no sticking other chemicals on there to try and remove your fingerprints. All you need is the one care cloth. That is it. If you are walking around with a care cloth in your pocket, if you happen to snag yourself on a bit of barbed wire or a sharp twig or something, and you get a little scuff or a little cut somewhere on your hand or on your fingers, all you need to do, because of the medical oils that are in this, you just give it a quick wipe over, and that's it. Not only are you protecting your rifle, you're also protecting yourself. It's a very, very good product, and I would say that anybody that has a rifle, shotgun, rimfire, centerfire, anything, air rifle, anything like that, that this product is a must for your cleaning kit. That's a Ballistol care cloth. Right, what we're going to do next is give the inside of the barrel a quick clean out with this suckling silk toe material. All it is, it's really, really fine silk type material. You only need a little bit of this to put it in your pull through. So what I'm going to do is use my small hunting knife, and I'm going to cut just a little bit off so I can stick it on the pull through, and I can slide it down the barrel with some of the Ballistol Universal. You only need a very small amount of this, now that I know exactly how much you have to use. That's literally it. And you just give it a quick twist, and there you are. So we'll come back to this one in a minute. We're just going to give the rifle a quick wipe over, and then we'll come through to how we actually use this cloth, putting it down the barrel, cleaning the inside of the barrel out. We're going to move on to the Ballistol Universal spray. This spray can be used on absolutely anything that you would use your WD-40s on, anything like that, only this is a much better and far superior product than your WD-40s and your other universal oils. All I'm going to do with this is, for a more intensive cleaning on your rifle, all you have to do is give one short spray just down the length of your rifle. That is it. You can see how it's forming along the stock. As it is a very thin universal oil, it will creep into all the little nooks and crannies, all the fissures of the wood. It impregnates itself back into the stock. This is a highly oiled stock. It's not a varnished stock, it's an oiled finished stock. So once you've got it on there, just leave it for a couple of minutes to do its business, and then all you have to do is give it a quick wipe over. That's as much as you have to do. Even if your rifle's been sat around for a couple of months, it's gathering dust. If you don't like going out in the rain, just to knock the dust off. Don't use your furniture polishers, which contain mostly chemicals and waxes, silicons. Long term, you put furniture wax on your rifle stock, it will start to degrade the finish. Now, that's just on one side. I've been using these products on my rifle now for not a long time, but I hope you can see there that the finish that I have got on that is absolutely outstanding. Where you've got the extra little bit of oil build up on here, you can see the shine, and the Ballistol oil helps bring that shine back to all woods. You can use it on your furniture at home, you can use it on your coffee table. Any oak, teak, mahogany, any wood that has oil in it, you can just use the Ballistol Universal. It'll bring everything up really, really nicely.
But you can also use it on lacquered finishes as well.
You can use it on lacquered finishes. It will just enhance the lacquered finish because it doesn't contain any nasty chemicals. Because it's a really universal product, you can use it as a polish. You can just spray it on whatever you want, spray it wherever you need to, such as your knife. I mean, we've just been out for a wander in the field. The knife's got a little bit of grime on there. It's got a little bit of the water spots on it. You could use the care cloth, or you could use the spray, and all you need to do is literally just give it one quick blast. You can see the oil already working in all the way down the knife blade, and all you have to do is wipe away all the dirt and all the material that was stuck to the knife blade. It
that's
takes
just
away.
One wipe, isn't
that's
it?
just one, literally one wipe. If you do have built up mess on your knife blade from wherever you've been using your knife, just give it a little bit of a rub, and it will bring off all the nastiness off there. And just give it a wipe over. Don't wipe it off too much. You want to leave a little bit of the protective oil on the knife. You can see on the other side you've still got a little bit of the mess at the bottom of the blade. You can see where it's being used there. There's a couple of little spots on the knife blade itself. One quick shot down the length of the blade, leave it for a couple of seconds, and using your microfiber cloth, wipe it away from the handle, put your onto the handle, and you just draw it straight down, and that's it. Everything that was on the knife blade has gone. Okay, yes, you would say that you could do that with most other oils, but if you sprayed some of the other oils onto your knife blade and then you went out to go and use your knife on your rabbits or your pigeons, I wouldn't want to put a knife covered in some of the other oils onto meat that I am going to eat. I do like my rabbit, I do like my pigeon. Using the Ballistol oil, because it's made of pure ingredients, it's not harmful to us in any way, shape or form. So you put that onto your knife, you're coating your knife, keeping it rust free, but you're safe in the knowledge that when you come to use your knife on the animal that you've shot, you are not contaminating the meat with anything.
Good point. Yeah, that's a good point. That it also leaves a slight residue, but you can't really feel it, can you?
No.
So any nastiness that will stick to it in the future will be easier cleaned off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It leaves a protective coating. You can see there where I've just run my greasy fingers over it. It's starting to dull it down just a little bit. All you need to do is just wipe it away.
Yeah.
And it just completely disappears.
Because it's an alkaline product, it'll neutralise any acids that are there.
Exactly. Anything that gets onto the blade will be completely neutralised. Then, instead of just thinking, right, my knife's done, using your Ballistol spray again, this has got a plastic case inside the sheath. So using your Ballistol spray, if you just hit it with a couple of little squirts, there again, even if you haven't got time to dry your knife or wipe the blood off your knife or whatever else you've got on your knife, you may have been cutting a little bit of timber down or a bit of bush down to make yourself a nighttime fire. Everything that you touch with this knife now, all the build up, once you've wiped it over, you just slide it straight back into your sheath and put it away. Therefore, that when you bring it back out, you know that your knife is going to have a slight coating of the Ballistol oil on it. So as soon as you come to use it the next time, wherever you put the knife, slice, the oil is protecting the knife. It's always there. Once you put it inside your sheath, that's it. You can wipe it over with a care cloth, but be very, very careful, because if your knife's as sharp as mine, you'll be needing more than a care cloth for your fingers. As you can see, I've got a hard case. It's got the egg box foam inside it, just pure plastic. You at home might have got one of the soft cases, but this will work with the soft cases as well. When you finish cleaning your rifle, you don't want to put your rifle back into a dirty case or a case that may have got a little bit of moisture on it. All I do, very quick and simple, full length, twice. That's it. Then when you put your rifle back into your case, where the oil's sat on top of the foam, as you can see the oil there on my hands, stick your rifle back in, close it up. You're putting your rifle back into a protected environment. When you're finished with your pride and joy that you've spent your hard-earned cash on, you can pick it straight up, put it straight into your gun case, and you're putting it back into a protected environment. You can also use the Ballistol Universal as a pellet lube. Now, same again, all you need is one very short spray. With your standard lead pellets, all I do, one short spray. Close the box up and just give it a little roll around. Open it up and all your pellets are now coated with the oil, utilising it as a pellet lubricant. As you've already seen, the Ballistol Universal doesn't smoke when it comes out the end of your barrel. So putting it onto your pellets as a pellet lube will have no detrimental effect to the accuracy. It may allow the pellet to leave the muzzle a little bit quicker, as most pellet lubes do. This product can also be used on your high-grade Prometheus pellets. They're in a plastic jacket with a steel bullet that leaves a plastic jacket. Same applies. One short squirt onto the pellets, close the box. Admittedly, this is a full box, but because of the creep quality of the oil, all the pellets are now coated with the Ballistol Universal, all ready to go. As I say, it does increase the performance of the pellet leaving your barrel, which may up the poundage of your rifle, but all pellet lubricants do that anyway. They do tell you that. It is a renowned fact. You go sticking pellet lube on your pellets, there is a slight chance that it will up the overall power and operating performance of your rifle. So if you are running quite close to the 12 foot-pound mark, just be warned, it could take it over the 12 foot-pound mark. Right, using the Ballistol Universal again, we're going to clean out the barrel of this rifle. This is a 2.2 rifle. This product can be used on any bore of rifle that you might have, be it 177, .20, .22, .25, even the rimfire, centerfire, 2.2s, any rifle that you have of any bore, so long as you've got the right kind of cleaning equipment to stick down the barrel to clean out all the mess that builds up in the riflings. Even with your shotguns, we have another product here that is designed for the shotgun barrels. Same applies. Take a little bit of this, stick it on the end of your push rod, wrap it round the end of your mop as you're putting it down the end of your barrel, but give it a spray with the Ballistol Universal. That will help remove all the lead, all the gunpowder, the black powder, any residues that build up on the inside of your shotgun barrel. Really, really good products. Now what we're going to do, I'm going to quickly unscrew the silencer off the end of my rifle. He says.
How many Weetabix this morning? Not enough.
Only one. Right, silencer removed. Then crack the barrel so we've got it open. Now what I'm going to do is, on the side of the Ballistol Universal you will get a little straw. This is not for sipping the Ballistol. You attach that onto the end of the spray, like so that you can have very easy and direct application of the product to wherever you need it on your rifle, or indeed your hinges at home, your door hinges, your gate hinges, any locks. Stick that inside the lock itself, spray. It's actually putting the oil inside the lock. On your rifle you can use it just to put round a little blob on the end of your safety. Just that little drop there will seep through the gap between the metal, it will seep into the safety catch, thus lubricating all the internal parts of the safety catch, kicking out all the water, keeping out all the dirt. Now what I'm going to do is just one squirt, put the tube all the way down, one squirt and pull up, so that you have a quantity of oil now sat inside the barrel. That will start to neutralise the lead build-up, any dirt build-up inside the barrel itself. Gradually work it down so it coats in the oil. Turn it as it goes so it picks up all the dirt from inside the barrel, and as you can see it comes popping out the other side, and it's collected all the muck and all the dirt from inside my barrel. Now my barrel was clean, believe it or not, my barrel was clean. Just using a slight blast of the Ballistol oil removes all the build-up of lead and all the build-up of dirt that might get inside your barrel after prolonged use. I have shot, I say, about 40-50 pellets today while we've been out walking around the fields.
Right, can we just pull that out, Richard, so we can see, so that it's away from the actual black of the end and see? Good Lord, that has taken a lot off, hasn't it?
That's removed all the rubbish that was inside the barrel.
How many pellets do you think that's?
I thought my barrel was clean. I did this about a fortnight ago. Obviously, the more pellets that you use, the faster the build-up will occur inside your barrel.
So are you saying that you're fairly surprised that it's come out that dirty? Because I was
very surprised that it's come out that dirty, in fact. And I must admit, that shocked even me. To see that much come out of the inside of this barrel, that's pretty amazing. So now what we'll do, we'll wipe off the end. We'll take the pull-through end off, if I can. There we go. And then we're just going to add a little bit more of the pull-through material, just to give it one last clean through. Clean it off first, make sure that you've got no of the residue left on there. Then using another little bit, do the same again, cut yourself a little piece off, twist it round so you can get it into the end of the pull through, like threading a needle. Stick that through the end, bunch it down and give it a twist so it stays on the end of your pull through. And you now know that everything that's inside your barrel, you've got the oil inside your barrel waiting as it's doing its work, removing all the residues and all the rubbish from the inside of the barrel. And once again, all I'm going to do is very carefully pull that so it goes back up inside the barrel and twist. And as you twist, it picks up all the rubbish that's stuck inside there, and as you bring it out, as you can see, it's now nice and clean.
Right,
so you saw how dirty it was when I put it down. That removed all the rubbish and all the residue from the riflings, from down the inside of the barrel. And now that I've pulled it back through with a clean piece of the toe, you can now see that all the dirt, except for a few little spots,
it's gone.
Is completely
on
gone.
One pull?
On one pull.
Would you expect that from any other oils?
No. No? No.
Definitely not.
Even some of the better oils that are known, the big brand oils, they leave a residue inside your barrel. So even though you pulled it through, you clean it all out, it's nice and spotless, the very second that you put a lead pellet back into your rifle and fire it, as it runs down the riflings, you will find that the oil burns off and it leaves a tar-like substance stuck into the grooves of the riflings. That is not a bad thing. Most people will say that you need to have a build-up of lead in order for your rifle to shoot straight. I, on the other hand, like to know that I have got a nice, perfectly clean barrel, that I know that when I go out there it's not going to jam, it's not going to stick. I'm going to get concise, precise shots every time. I don't want to be thinking, right, my barrel's a bit dirty, I might get a bit of left or right hand deviation. Doing it like this with the Ballistol product, it's a natural, or it's made from natural oils and oleums and medical oils. It is designed for any application. I find it absolutely brilliant on my rifle. As you can see, the sheen from my rifle is absolutely brilliant. And when you do a test like that, and you stick it down the barrel of your rifle, and you can see that how much rubbish comes off when you put it down the barrel, and how much it actually removes as you draw the toe back out. We'll just do a quick comparison from before and after. That's when it went through.
It was first pulled down through, wasn't it?
That was the push through.
Push through, sorry, yeah.
And that
is the
pull out.
So that's taken
all the rubbish off. There was still oil, you can still feel the oil, you can still see the oil in the toe. It's absorbed all the oil, all the excess oil that was inside the barrel, but that's the state as it's gone down and pushed all the rubbish out, and then bringing it back up, following the twist of the riflings inside the barrel. There's hardly anything left in there for the reverse toe to actually pull out.
So anything that is left there, when you put a pellet down through the gun and you shoot a pellet through there, you shouldn't get any smoking.
We'll give that a quick try. Shouldn't be any smoking. There may be, if there's a little bit of residue down there, we may get a little bit of smoking. This may be loud because there's no silencer on the end of the barrel, as I've removed the silencer from the end. And what I'll do, I'll just point it down at the ground. Safety always.
Let's see if I can get that in there, Rich. Right.
And we just pull the trigger. There was a little blast of excess oil that came out the end, but as you can see, there's no smoking. No smoking at all.
I can't even smell.
No.
I can't smell anything.
No. There's no dieseling from the rifle. Nothing like that. And then, just to make sure that everything's nice and clean, one quick shot on the end of the silencer threads and reattach the silencer onto the end of the rifle. Doesn't matter that you've got oil all over your fingers, just give it one nice quick clamp up, give it a wipe over with your hand, because your hand's now completely covered in oil, re-lubricating, and then one more with the silencer on. Just one quick fire down at the ground. Difference in noise, no smoke. Unlike most of the gun oils that you will have used, you will find that you do get a fair amount of smoking from these products. It's as it's burning off, it's called dieseling. And as it's burning off from the inside of the riflings, and it's also burning off from inside the compression chamber and through the transfer port into your barrel, you do get a build-up of smoke as the pellet leaves the rifle itself. With this product, however, you don't get any smoking. You've seen that, that's the ultimate test. Ballistol oil pen. This is a brilliant product. When you finish with it, you don't throw it away. You can refill these quite easily and simply by unscrewing the cap, removing the little plastic bit at the top. That's got a little springy thing inside it that dispenses the oil onto the nib, and using the Ballistol Universal that comes in a bottle, there we are, you can refill the pen, as well as the other multitude of uses that you can get from the oil itself. I do believe that Mr. Brown here takes the Ballistol in the morning for indigestion remedy. Right, now what we're going to attempt to do here is, if you remove the nib from the end of the pen, you can see that it's like a marker pen nib. You've got a round end and a round end. Now what you can do is, using a sharp knife, you should be able to shave off a little bit of the nib and make it into a point, like so, for those incredibly hard to reach places that you need to dispense your oil. So now what you've got, in essence, is a marker tip and a pencil tip. Marker tip being used for oil dispensing on your larger jobs, such as the Allen key holes on the top of your scope. Using the oil, just give it a quick depress, the oil comes into the nib, wipe it round 2 or 3, and you can see that the oil is actually welling up inside the Allen key head, thus preventing water build-up. End result, no rust. So then, when you've finished with that end, rotate it round and you have a nice thin end for if you just wanted to apply a small amount of oil just to keep the water out of the turrets. Just a little dab on the top of there and give it a wipe around. That will prevent water from creeping in, water from seeping in. It will also help with the threads for your turret caps. Just give it a little wipe round. Same as inside your turret. Drop. And because you've now got a fine tip, you can actually push the oil right into the threads. Therefore, when you re-attach the turret cover, it goes on much easier. And you're certain in the knowledge that no water, no moisture is going to actually build up inside the turret covers themselves. This item can be used on absolutely anything where you need a direct application of oil. where you don't want a blanket screen of oil. You don't want to coat everything that you've got with oil. Anything like nuts, bolts, threads, anything that needs to be protected from the elements, one quick push and wipe it round. Because of the viscosity of the oil, it will creep into all the little nooks and crannies. Doesn't matter how much you put on. Leave it for a couple of minutes, and then using your microfiber cloth, wipe away what you don't want, wipe it on the rest of your rifle. One product doing the jobs of many other rifle products, being the Ballistol Universal. Right, next up is the Gun X 2000. This oil does pretty much what the Ballistol Universal oil does, but this is more designed for your rifles. It's a little bit thicker than the Universal. I use this for other bits on my rifle that I know are going to get quite a lot of hammer, quite a lot of use, such as where the block is just there. Inside there are two little metal shims that will get dirty. They will accumulate dust particles, dirt, and with one spray of this just at the top, and then you just allow it to creep. Only takes a couple of seconds, and then you just move it up so it works where it needs to work, and it creates a barrier for the steel to move freely, so it's not catching on anything. That's that side done. Same again with the other side. Just one quick spray, and we'll let that work its way in a little bit. You can see how it starts to run down, and then as soon as it's in, you just lift up the barrel and let the barrel fall under its own weight. So you now know that the shims that are inside there are completely oiled up, completely protected from any moisture, any dust build-up, any particle build-up, anything like that. That's all done. Moving back to just another quick, you've got the slide and guide which compresses your spring inside. Every moving part needs to have a drop of oil, so just one short little blast on there. Because we don't want the oil running all over his hands, etc. One wipe, and just wipe it away from the outside and wipe everything over. As I said, it does exactly the same job as what the Ballistol Universal oil does, just that this is a little bit thicker. The same creep performance as the Ballistol Universal does, but this is slightly thicker. And now you can see that when I move the barrel up and down, you can see that the block is now coated with oil, so everything that's in there has now got a nice coating of oil. One of the other areas that I do use it quite a lot is on the trigger mechanism. Because of its creep value, one quick spray just inside there onto the adjusting screw, and it will work its way all the way down right into the trigger block, keeping everything lubricated, keeping it working perfectly, so you know that every time that you pull the trigger, it's not going to stick, it's not going to jam. Giving it a quick wipe over. That's it. That's another part of your rifle, completely lubricated, completely cleaned, ready for your next hunting trip. Right, here we have the gun tech. It will remain exactly where you've put it. You can use this on the mainspring if you've got a pre-charged pneumatic rifle. This won't harm any of the O-rings, any of the seals, anything like that. You can run it through the entire system. It will lubricate the system, keep it free from dust, free from grease build-up, anything like that. Just one drop of this stuff is very, very good. I use this again on the trigger block. If I strip my rifle down, then I'm doing a complete overhaul, and I want to make sure that everything's working very, very nicely. One little drop of this onto the trigger mechanism, because it's got a nice long nozzle, you can get it right into the trigger block, just in front of the trigger. One little squeeze, that will run down onto the sear, onto the spring release, the piston release inside. You can use it again to the rear of the trigger, just one small drop, and that will work its way down all through trigger block. It'll coat everything as it goes, keeping everything in tip-top condition, rust free. The quality of the oil that is used keeps out all the nasties, it keeps out the water, it doesn't resinify, so you don't get a build-up of clumpy oil stuck inside the trigger mechanism, which ultimately you'd have to take the trigger mechanism out, take the trigger block out, clean off all the oil and all the grease that's built up inside there. It's all time consuming. Admittedly, yes, with one product, the Ballistol Universal, you can do all these things with the Ballistol Universal, but for a more intense cleaning and protection of your rifle, these products are second to none. Here is a really old German single barrel shotgun. What we're going to do, we're going to give it a quick wipe over. As you can see, there's quite a lot of rust on there. Really old, not really being well looked after. I don't think much could bring it up. So what we're going to do first is give it a quick wipe over with the care cloth, just to make it look nice and clean. Hopefully you'll be able to see how much rubbish this care cloth will actually take off. I don't think it's in much of a way of ready to shoot, but once we give it a good clean up and we've made it look nice and fresh, I don't see any reason why cartridges can't be stuck through it. As you can see, it's already started bringing off some of the rust off the barrel and off the ejection system. Give it a little bit of a wipe through inside there. Right, let's do the pistol grip and the back of the stock to remove from years of use. Same with the trigger guard. Give the trigger guard a good rub over. We're just doing this, you can see how easy it is to use the care cloth. It's so straightforward, so basic. You take it out the packet, you apply it to wherever you want to apply it to. The bolt itself, we can give the bolt a nice rub round, making sure that everything's all nice and clean. Make sure that all the pins working correctly. Just give that a little bit of a rub round, and you can see that the before and after, it's took off all that rubbish and you're now left with a nice pin that's working perfectly okay. As for the guide and the spring that sits inside there, all we need to do is a quick blast with the Gun X2000. Holding it open like so, one short blast onto the drive, give it a curly and then withdraw, and you can see that the bar is all nicely coated. That will run down onto the spring inside, keeping the spring nicely lubricated, keeping it working perfectly okay. Before we put the bolt back into the rifle, I'm going to give just a short blast of the Gun X2000 into the operating system of this single shot shotgun. We know that it's all nicely coated. You can see that there's plenty of oil in there. You can see the little bit of dirt that I've just pulled out there with my finger. Stick the care cloth in, push it all the way through and pull it out the other side. Even more rubbish brought off. Using the Gun X2000, one short spray, job done. Reinserting the bolt. We now know that the bolt itself will move very smoothly. It'll close very smoothly and it will fire very smoothly. All with one quick application using two of the best products, which is the care cloth for wiping it. And that's it. Ready for another day's work, or ready to be put back into the gun cabinet or the gun safe until the next time you want to get it out and go and have a little bit of a shoot. There we are. from seemingly a nasty piece of wood and a nasty piece of metal, we've transformed it into a nice luxury piece of wood and a very easy to operate sliding bolt that now flips over. Rather than ramming it down with your hand, you can now just drop it straight into place with your thumb and the fire